Alright, so let's take a look at this video. We're going to be doing operations on functions. We'll be adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. Now, I'll have another video up where we're doing operations on functions and evaluating them. So instead of x's right here, there will actually be numbers where we have to evaluate it. So check that video out. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. So let's look at the first one. Uh, we've got f plus g of x. Okay, so let's just write it out what it is. F plus g of x, all that is f of x plus g of x. Okay, well, what's f of x? That's 2x minus 1. So that equals 2x minus 1 plus g of x. Well, what's g of x? It's this function here. That's x squared plus x minus 2. And then all we do is we combine like terms. So that's going to be x squared, and then 2x plus x is 3x, and negative 1 minus 2 is negative 3. And there's your solution. Alright, now let's take a look at subtract. Alright, so subtracting, I've got f minus g of x. Well, write it out. That's f of x minus g of x. Alright, so that equals f of x, which is 2x minus 1, minus g of x, which is x squared plus x minus 2. Alright, so think about this. What did I do wrong in this step? I've got a mistake on here. Pause the video and think about it, and then play the video. See if you can see what I did wrong. Well, notice this is f of x minus g of x. So it's f of x minus g of x. It's minus the whole thing. I have to put it all in parentheses. Now you notice in the previous one that we did in the plus, I did not put parentheses around it. Okay? Think about it. This is a minus. I'm distributing a negative 1. It's going to change the sign of each term. But when it's a positive and I distribute the positive 1, I'm just going to get the same thing back. So I don't need the parentheses when I'm adding. But just keep this in mind. If you're in doubt of whether to put parentheses or not, put the parentheses. You cannot go wrong putting parentheses. Okay? Alright, so that's going to be 2x minus 1, and then I'll distribute the negative, and so that's going to give me minus x squared minus x plus 2. And then we'll combine like terms, so that's negative x squared, and 2x minus x is x, and negative 1 plus 2 is 1. Alright, now let's look at multiplying. Alright, so let's look at f times g of x. Well, that's what? That's f of x times g of x. And so that is 2x minus 1 times g of x, which is x squared plus x minus 2. Alright, so do you remember how to multiply a binomial and a trinomial? Well, all we do is we take this term, the 2x, and multiply it times each term, and then we take the minus 1 and multiply it by each term. And that's how we're going to do this one. But also, you could take the x squared, multiply it to each term, and then the x, multiply it to each term, and then the minus 2 and multiply it to each term. Either way will work. Alright, but like I said, we're going to do this one times this. So 2x times x squared is 2x cubed. 2x times x is 2x squared. And 2x times negative 2 is minus 4x. and then I'm going to multiply the negative 1 times each term. So negative 1 times x squared is negative x squared. Negative 1 times x is negative x, and negative 1 times negative 2 is positive 2. And then I'm going to combine like terms, so I get 2x cubed, and then let's say we get 2x, let me mark these out as I do them. 2x squared minus x squared, that's going to give me x squared, and then negative 4x minus x is minus 5x, and then I've got the plus 2. And there's your answer. Alright, now let's look at the division. Alright, so division, f over g of x, well, let's write it out. All that is f of x over g of x. And so I've got f of x, which is 2x minus 1, over g of x, which is x squared plus x minus 2. Okay. Now, I know this isn't going to simplify anymore, but just to show you, whenever you can factor something, you see how this factors down here? Factor it, and you can see nothing cancels. So this is your final solution. Yes, if you want to, you can leave your final solution like that. Okay? But you need to factor and make sure it doesn't reduce anymore. Okay? Alright, so I hope the video helped. Check out my other videos. Give me a like, share, and subscribe, and thanks for watching.